because the power in knowing when to persist, when to persevere, and when to call it quits, that is the absolute question you need to be asking yourself when you're running into problems, when you're running into issues. Knowing when to let go. That is one of the most powerful things that you can have control over in your life. Hey, welcome into the Fire and Iron Show. My name is Reggie. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our purpose here at Fire and Iron is to awaken, to equip, and to challenge men to stop drifting and to start leading. If you saw our last episode, it was all about the power of persistence and to keep fighting, the grit and to grind and everything else, to have that gumption, that courage to keep on pursuing forward. So we're going to kind of take the opposite approach of this, because I know there's some people out there like me that will just grind and just hold on and hold on and hold on, whether we think it's a good idea or not. And that's not what you need to do. So today we're talking about how to recognize a dip versus a dead end, and how do you make a bold strategy or a bold decision to either cut that loose and move on and learn your lessons, or like last episode, do we persevere? Do we keep moving forward? Because the power in knowing when to persist, when to persevere, and when to call it quits, that is the absolute question you need to be asking yourself when you're running into problems, when you're running into issues. Knowing when to let go. That is one of the most powerful things that you can have control over in your life. The power to say no, the power to say, you know what, we tried it. It just wasn't quite right, bad timing or whatever. We're going to move on. That is very, very powerful. And if you could understand that, then you are going to set yourself up, and you can try new things and you can cut it loose. You could try new things and be like, no, this is what we're going to do, and start moving forward. So all of this today is kind of loosely based around Seth Godin's book. He came out with it a while ago, and we'll put it in the show notes here. It's called The Dip. Because when you start something new, it's exciting. You're energized by it. The emotions are high. And if you followed us before, emotional-based decisions are taking over at that point, where you're excited about it. You're just thinking about it nonstop, and there's a natural state of just energy, and power put into whatever you're doing, whether it's a new relationship or a new thing at work or a new business or a new strategy, whatever it may be. But eventually, you will experience a dip. So imagine you're on this roller coaster, right? Emotions are high, everything's going well, and then you kind of plateau and possibly even dip down a little bit. And in this little valley, in this plateau, that's where Seth Godin really talks about some different things about you're putting in work, but you aren't seeing the results. So is God telling you, hey, this isn't the path I've got for you? Or is he testing your perseverance? That is, one of the things that I've asked myself a number of times, whether it was, starting a podcast, my career, being a mortgage lender, my marriage. I was questioning a lot of things. Is this what God wants me to do? Or do I just need to kind of retool and redo something and keep grinding, keep going forward? The difference between grit and grinding yourself into the ground. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. Seth Godin, it's a great book called The Dip. And what's interesting is this. Most people think, well, winners never quit. They never quit. They just persevere and they make it happen. Well, that's not even true. The facts don't back that up. Winners quit all the time, Seth says. They just quit the right things at the right time. So, how do you know if you need to keep pursuing this, keep persevering, grinding it out, get grit, get back up again, like we talked about in last episode? Or is it time to just say, you know what? I'm done with this. So there's four questions. There's four questions that you need to ask yourself to see if you should stick it out or simply just let it go. Ask yourself question number one. Is this hard or is it hopeless? Okay? The scenario is the season that you're in, it just sucks. You're in that dip, you're in the plateau, you're doing the work, but there's no tangible results. So if you're in a dip, this is what you should be asking yourself. Deep down, you know a shift can happen. You're not seeing the results, right? You maybe you see a little blip, but for the most part, you're flatlining with your results right now. But like inside of you, everything inside of you says just stay the course, just stay the course. You feel like you're getting better. If we're talking about a job situation, you feel like you're better talking, communicating to your clients or your employees or whoever it may be, but you're not seeing the results that you want. That's where perseverance comes in, because you know deep down, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. We can see results, and I feel like I'm getting better. But if you're in a dead end, you try different angles, strategies, and there's no change in results. And here's the key: the energy, it gets drained from you. It is absolutely draining, and you are feeling defeated. You don't want to get out of bed. You're tired of the rejection. You're just tired of it all. So the questions you need to be asking yourself is this difficulty temporary or is it systematically broken? Is my breakthrough just on the other side of the horizon here, or is this just not working at all? Another question, am I going through this or am I simply grinding things? Am I getting through this because this is a testing period, or am I just grinding just to grind? The second major question you need to be asking yourself is, does this align with my long-term purpose, or is it just short-term pride? And now you can start to see some differences, right? You can see the differences between the dip and whether I should choose to persevere and keep going through this, or is just a dead end and I'm just hanging on because of ego and it's draining and everything else. Because the dip, if does it align with my long-term purpose or is it just short-term pride? The dip, it supports your mission. It's building your character. It may be slow and messy, but you are in alignment with your vision of who you want to be and where you want to go and what your pillar stands for. And that is a huge, huge thing that you can constantly look at, engage it. In what I'm doing, is it in line with my pillars and where I want to be and who I want to show up as? Because on the dead end side of it, you're just sticking it out because of ego. You don't want to let go because you have a fear of what others might say if you quit. And you know it's not your calling. Deep down, you know this is not my calling. But you think quitting is a failure. So you just stay. You just stall. And now you could see a huge difference between the two. When you put up what you want to be doing long term, and how does that align your current actions? Does it align with your long term visions? If you're in a dip, it 100% lines up. It's just we're experiencing some crap right now, and it is sucking, man. We're not seeing results. We're putting in the work, but it's coming. And then on this side, it's just, I can't give up because what will my kids think? What will my spouse think? What will my friends think, or my coworkers, my dad, my mom, whoever? Ask yourself, if this succeeded, would I want the results? Would you even want the results if it succeeded? because that means you would be doing more of it. And that's where purpose and all that comes into play. Is this tied to your identity, or is it just an insecurity? That's what you need to be asking yourself with that. The third question to kind of see, is this a dip or is this a dead end? Am I quitting? If you were to quit, are you scared or have you grown? During the dip, you will be tempted to quit because it's hard, because you're physically tired and you're frustrated. But here's the key. Have you outgrown it? Or are you just avoiding discomfort? When you're in a dip, you need to reevaluate, and we'll talk about this in a little bit too. You need to reevaluate what you're doing. And you need to figure out, okay, am I not doing what I need to do to get the results? Because you've already established I'm in a dip. This lines up with my action, like with my long-term goals and what I want to do. So you need to figure out, am I avoiding something that is going to be the difference maker to get me out of this valley, to get me off this plateau? Because on a dead end side, you've outgrown that position or that relationship or that routine, and it's holding you back because it's not lined up with who you want to be. It is totally holding you back from the person that you want to be, but your ego won't let you let go. You're not leaving because you're weak. You're leaving because you're just done with it. And that's what you need to do. That's what you need to change your mindset to. Walking away from these different opportunities, or your current job or your current relationship or whatever it may be, is not a sign of weakness. It actually is a sign of strength, because the power of saying no is so strong. Some other quick questions to think about with this. Are you quitting because you're scared, or maybe you've outgrown it? Would you be proud of quitting, or would you regret it? Looking back 20 years from now, would you be proud of your decision to say, I'm glad I ended that relationship. I'm glad I changed jobs. I'm glad I switched up this routine or whatever it may be. Or are you going to look back and say, why didn't I just grind through it? Why didn't I do the work necessary to get the results? That's what you've got to be asking yourself. And the final mindset that you've got to think about, if you let go of this action, of this relationship, of this job, what would you finally have the freedom to build? Okay? What would it allow you to do? Because in a dip where you just need to persevere, you need to get some grit, you need to get some grind and keep going, letting go is premature. You're avoiding the pain, and you are essentially going to be starting from scratch again. And you will likely regret it and probably come back to it. And that's what I've done. Like I said, this is the fourth time I've started this podcast. Has some things changed? Yeah, some things have changed. But essentially, the messaging and the purpose and the fire and everything else has come right back to what I want it to be, which is helping you, helping men from stop drifting to start leading. Why? Because two reasons. Number one, I'm giving this message to myself just as much as I am to you. And there is a fire inside of me, and I don't know why exactly, but I'm listening to it and following through with it. And that's where a dip, and that's where I am on this dip, right? Like, I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Am I at the levels that I want to be? Not even close. We're just getting started. But that does not mean that I'm going to quit and do everything else, because I will grow to regret it. And I have come back to this, so I know it's a dip. If you're on a dead end, though, with you quitting, it's going to open up all kinds of space for you. that extra margin, whether it's your time, your mental energy, your focus, your finances, whatever it is, it will feel like a relief letting that go. It would ask yourself this: would it allow you to invest in what truly matters when you're looking at your pillars? Because we've already established a dead end is not lined up with your pillars like it should. So, with this extra time, the money, the resources, whatever it may be, what would that allow you to do? What would that allow you to invest now in family and health and your faith or whatever it may be? The question you need to be asking yourself with that is, what is it costing you? Your energy, your money, your attention, your opportunity, and what could you finally do if you just let it go? Think about that. If it's a dead end, if you let go of it and it puts a smile on your face because you're like, man, then I could finally go after this, then you know you're at a dead end. Because most men are afraid to quit. Not because they don't want change, but because they think it's weak. And I'm telling you right now, quitting is not weak. If it does not line up with who you want to be, your values, your culture, and what you want to, something that you could look back and be proud of when you are on your deathbed or you're looking back after retirement and you said, no, I'm glad I did that. Because quitting the right thing isn't weak, it's wise. You've got to know when to quit. Again, Seth Godin, winners quit all the time. They just quit the right things at the right time. And that's what I'm telling you to do. The dip, it makes you stronger. And dead ends, they make you stuck. And don't be stuck. The key is to know which you're in. And again, go back, listen to these questions. Take an honest assessment and have the courage to act accordingly. Know which one you're in and have the courage to act accordingly. We're going to continue this over on Patreon, and this is going to be huge, okay? And I don't want you to miss out on this. Go over to Patreon, patreon.com, look up Fire Iron Show, and we're going to take this framework, okay? The 4 questions that we've had plus additional questions, and what's going to happen is I'm going to take this framework and we're going to apply it directly to your life. We're going to have honest reflection and have a plan to act. How do you do this? How can you take your life and say, okay, with my relationship with my spouse, is this a dip or a dead end? With the relationship with, my job, is this a dip or is this a dead end? The relationship with spirituality and my finances and everything else, how can I make this ideal? And we're going to put this framework over all the pillars of your life. It's not just an extension, okay? It's not just a continuation of this. It's real life application. And that, my friend, that is where real breakthrough happens. So head on over to Patreon, patreon.com, look up Fire Iron Show. If we're not friends on Facebook yet, or Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Fire Iron Show on all of the platforms. Check out our website, fireironshow.com. And I appreciate you sharing this. Appreciate you sharing this with your friends, your family members, your coworkers, everybody that you can think of. We want to grow. We want to help through this information. This is absolutely free. Head over to Patreon. I think it's $5 a month. You help support this channel. It allows me to know, hey, create better content, have better guests on, and just the technology to reach more people. And again, and it just goes to show, hey, there is a need for this. Keep going, right? And you get a little bit of bump, and this continues on and on. So if you know anyone that needs some help, could benefit from this, thank you so much for sharing it with them. And thank you for tuning in to the Fire and Iron Show, where we ignite your potential and help forge your future.